Today we start the Odyssey. And the Odyssey is a sequel to the Iliad, and it's a family story. It's a story about a homecoming. There are three main characters, right? There's Odysseus, who is the main character, and this is why it's called the Odyssey. Then there is Penelope, who is his wife, and there's Telemachus, who is their son. Odyssey is about three individuals in a family, and they're all traumatized, and they're all heartbroken. Okay? So Odysseus is trying to return home from the war, and his problem is that he has PTSD, which is post-traumatic syndrome. Then you have Penelope, who's suffering from depression. And why is she depressed? Because her husband has been away for 20 years. And she doesn't know if he's alive or he's dead. Okay? And so her response, and this is what we call cognitive dissonance, her response is just to shut down. Okay? She just spends all her time alone in her room. And then there's Telemachus. Telemachus, his problem is that he doesn't know if his father is dead or alive. But the man is a legend. And he's his son, so he's living in his shadow, okay? And he wants to prove he's better than his father. He wants to become a hero himself, but he's being burdened. Another name for the soul that we use today, if you go to psychology class, their name for the soul is the worldview. In psychology, what they will teach you is that trauma splinters the worldview. Okay? All right? Because you're unable to act. And that's exactly what's happening to Odysseus, Penelope, and Telemachus. He has to explain to himself why he's there. And he knows he's going to be away from home for 20 years. 10 years in Troy, 10 years being lost at sea. Right? So his worldview is this. Why am I here in Troy? Well, the first reason is just justice. Right? This is a just war because the Trojan stole Helen. And therefore, the Greeks must avenge the honor of Menelaus. Okay? Second is family. Okay? Now, third reason is legacy. Yes, he will not see his son Telemachus for 20 years. Therefore, he has to build him a legacy that will carry him for the rest of his life. Okay, but when we see him in the Odyssey, he's a changed person. In fact, he's a broken person. So what's happening is one day he had it, the Trojan horse. Okay, so he sneaks in, so he gets into the underbelly of the Trojan horse along with other soldiers. And then they get into the city and they're really scared and they're really excited. Then they're able at night to leave the Trojan horse and then open the gates of Troy, and the Greeks stream in and they start to conquer the city. But then something catches his eye, all right? He strikes down a soldier, and then a woman comes crying, and she's traumatized at the sight of the death of her husband. And Odysseus is traumatized by this woman being traumatized because he came to Troy to save the woman, right? He sees Penelope in this woman. He says, I came all this way to make sure that Helen could be safe of her husband. And now he just recognized that I just killed someone's husband. But not only that, but the Greeks come and they take her off to be enslaved. So he, by winning this war, has destroyed every single family in Troy. He's caused the suffering of thousands and thousands of women and children. That is what he sees for the first time, okay? For the longest time, he believed that he was here to fight for justice, to save families, to leave a legacy for his son Telemachus. And now he recognizes, no, this is not a just war. I'm destroying a civilization. This is not a war about family. This is a war about destroying families. And what legacy am I leaving my son? How will my son feel if he knows how I destroyed families like ours? And this causes trauma in him. It splits his soul. And it drives him crazy, basically. And that's the conflict, the central conflict in the Odyssey. Having done so much evil, how can you go home? How can you repair yourself? How can you mend your soul and repair your worldview so that you can live for your family? Okay? The answer, of course, is each other, okay? The love for each other. That's what's gonna save the world, okay? The love of family. And that is the fundamental message of the Odyssey.